Welcome back to the channel, where numismatics meets mystery and money, and today we're diving into one of the most mind-boggling stories in the world of rare coins, a tale that has stunned collectors, baffled experts, and mesmerized investors. Imagine finding a single penny, a tiny copper coin weighing just a few grams, minted in 2004, and realizing it's worth not $1, not $100, not even $1,000, but a staggering $193 million. Yes, you heard that right, a 2004 1-cent coin, commonly referred to as a penny, gained astronomical value not because it was made of solid gold or encrusted with diamonds, but because of something far more subtle, intriguing, and utterly fascinating: errors and mistakes, the very quirks that were never meant to exist. In the massive industrial processes of coin minting, where machines strike thousands of coins per hour with machine-like precision, an error is usually a mistake, a blemish, an imperfection. But sometimes, just sometimes, those imperfections become the golden tickets of the coin-collecting world. They become anomalies, freaks of production that defy logic, survive destruction, and eventually surface in the hands of someone lucky, or smart, enough to recognize their significance. The 2004 1-cent coin we're talking about today isn't just rare, it's a virtual ghost, a unicorn in the landscape of American currency. It's the kind of find that sends ripples across forums, auctions, museums, and private collections. So, what exactly happened in 2004? Why did this seemingly insignificant coin become so valuable? To answer that, we need to dive deep into the world of minting processes, errors like double-die obverse, off-center strikes, die caps, clipped planchets, and transitional metals. We'll dissect the history, the rumors, the facts, the controversy, and every reason why this coin has become one of the most coveted artifacts in American numismatics. The United States Mint produces billions of coins annually across several facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, and West Point. The 2004 1-cent coin was no exception, part of the Lincoln Cent series featuring the famous bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. At first glance, the 2004 penny looks like any other, made from copper-plated zinc since the early 1980s after the rising cost of copper forced a change in metal composition. But one small batch of 2004 cents stood out. In a particular production run, some suspect Philadelphia, others point to a rogue press in Denver. A series of highly unusual errors occurred. The most glaring of these was a double-die obverse so dramatic that Lincoln's profile appeared to have two sets of features. His eyes, lips, and jawline appeared doubled as if in a ghostly overlay, and the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 2004, were similarly distorted, the letters appearing shadowed or echo-like, as though the die struck twice but slightly offset. This kind of error doesn't happen every day, and when it does, the mint usually detects it and destroys the batch before it circulates. But for reasons still debated today, ranging from mechanical oversight, human error, or even a rogue employee, the flawed batch escaped quality control and entered circulation. But that's not all. Some of these pennies also exhibited off-metal errors. A few were struck on 90% silver planchets intended for proof dimes, others on brass blanks left over from foreign contract coins. These are known as transitional errors or planchet errors, and they're among the rarest forms of minting mistakes because they involve the wrong metal entirely. Imagine a penny that's supposed to weigh 2.5 grams but weighs 3.1 or 4.3 because it was struck on an entirely different blank. That's the kind of anomaly that sends coin experts into a frenzy. Further examination revealed partial collar strikes, broad strikes, misaligned dies, and even mule errors, where the obverse and reverse don't match, possibly using a reverse die from a previous year or a different denomination. Some even showed bizarre anomalies like mirrored fields and frosted devices, features typical of proof coins, indicating that at least some of the error cents may have been struck using mismatched or experimental dies. One extraordinary theory posits that a press configured for a test run of special commemorative coins was accidentally used for regular cent production, producing coins with abnormally high die pressure, resulting in sharper than usual reliefs and deeply incised features, hallmarks of proof-like strikes. Others argue that someone at the mint may have experimented with new dye alloys or tempering techniques, inadvertently creating a few cents with unusual luster, magnetic properties, or resistance to wear. Still, another layer of intrigue emerged when a few specimens were found to have microscopic inscriptions hidden within the bust of Lincoln, possible remnants of an abandoned security feature or engraver's mark. These details, almost invisible to the naked eye, required high magnification microscopy and sparked wild theories of covert minting operations, secret test batches, or rogue engravers embedding messages or identifying signatures. As word of the strange 2004 cents began circulating in numismatic circles, collectors began hoarding any 2004 penny they could find. Auction houses listed verified error specimens and watched bidding wars escalate into six-figure territories. 1 penny, authenticated by multiple third-party grading services as exhibiting a combination of double-die obverse, off-metal planchet, and proof-like surfaces, fetched over $3 million at auction, a jaw-dropping sum for a denomination most people wouldn't bend down to pick up on the street. But that was only the beginning. Over the next several years, as more variations surfaced, each seemingly more bizarre than the last, an elite group of collectors and investors began to assemble a complete subset of the 2004 error series. And then, the Holy Grail emerged, a single 2004 cent with a double-die obverse, a mule reverse from a 2000 dated Sacagawea dollar, struck on a blank meant for a 5-cent nickel, and featuring proof-like qualities with mirrored fields and frosted devices. This Frankenstein of a coin, a virtually impossible combination of errors, was so unlikely that many experts initially dismissed it as a counterfeit. But extensive metallurgical testing, dye match analysis, and comparative diagnostics confirmed its authenticity. The coin was not only genuine, it was unparalleled. Its value exploded, eventually appraised at $193 million, not just for its absurdly rare characteristics but for its symbolism, the convergence of multiple minting errors, historical curiosity, and the sheer improbability of survival. It became a legend, a once-in-a-lifetime find that blurred the line between mistake and masterpiece. The coin now resides in a private collection, housed in a climate-controlled, high-security vault, insured for nearly $200 million. But the implications of its existence ripple far beyond its physical form. It has prompted numismatists to re-examine other seemingly mundane coins, to question what else might be hiding in plain sight, and to treat even the most common denominations with newfound respect. And for collectors, the story of the 2004 1-cent coin is more than just a tale of money. It's a narrative about chaos and order, randomness and purpose, and how even the smallest object can challenge assumptions, ignite passion, and command a fortune. So the next time you get change back at the store, or find an old penny lying in a drawer, take a moment to look a little closer. That 1 cent might just be the next $1 million mistake, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone like you to recognize the treasure within the tarnish. Keep your eyes open, your magnifier handy, and your curiosity alive, because in the world of coins, the line between ordinary and extraordinary is razor thin, and the story of the 2004 $193 million penny proves that history, mystery, and untold value can all be pressed into a single, tiny piece of metal. And if you thought the story ended there, think again, because the rabbit hole of the 2004 1-cent coin only goes deeper. As collectors and experts began tracing the origin of these errors, theories and investigations emerged that pointed to possible internal mismanagement at one of the minting facilities, raising eyebrows about the circumstances that allowed such egregious minting mistakes to pass through unnoticed. Some experts suggested that a maintenance error may have caused the die to shift just slightly, allowing a consistent run of double-die obverse to slip through before being detected. Others speculated that a shipment of incorrect planchets, intended perhaps for foreign coin contracts or experimental testing, accidentally ended up in the hopper meant for Lincoln cents, an error so rare and so unthinkable that it could only have happened due to a perfect storm of logistical confusion. There's also the tantalizing theory that one or more mint employees intentionally orchestrated the anomalies, either out of protest, artistic mischief, or even financial motivation, hoping to release what they knew would become ultra-valuable collectibles. This theory, while controversial and unproven, gains traction among conspiracy-minded collectors who believe the precision and combination of errors involved could not simply be coincidental. One of the more extreme variations of the 2004 cent includes what is known as a clash die error, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet between them, leaving mirrored ghost-like images of one side impressed faintly into the other. Such clashed images create a surreal, almost haunting effect, where elements of the Lincoln Memorial can be seen faintly on Lincoln's cheek, or fragments of lettering appear inverted beneath the date. These subtle, almost ethereal effects send chills down the spine of any collector lucky enough to witness them firsthand. Another reported variation included coins with partial dates, where the last digit of 2004 was either missing, faint, or struck at an odd angle, possibly due to a grease-filled die or misaligned planchet. Some of these examples led to speculation about an even rarer category, coins with experimental date font changes or prototype numerals that were never officially approved, hinting at secret design tests being accidentally released into circulation. A handful of these coins reportedly show traces of alternative fonts or serif modifications that differ ever so slightly from the official 2004 strike, enough to be visible under magnification and to spark endless debate among specialists. Even more startling was the appearance of edge-lettered cents. Yes, coins with inscriptions on the edges, something never officially done on Lincoln cents but standard on dollar coins like the presidential series. A few authenticated 2004 cents show signs of pressure imprints along the edge, possibly from misfed machinery or mistakenly applied experimental collars, giving the coin an otherworldly appearance that's completely outside the expected boundaries of cent design. And if all that wasn't enough, some of the 2004 era cents are reported to exhibit chromatic anomalies, subtle changes in surface coloration, from golden hues to purples and blues, similar to what is seen in heat-treated metals. These so-called toned errors have become another layer of mystery in the already multilayered saga of the 2004 cent. Some experts believe the colorations resulted from the use of leftover blanks that had been previously subjected to chemical treatments or stored under unusual conditions. Others think the color shifts may have occurred due to exposure to incorrect annealing temperatures during the blanking phase, again a rare but not impossible mistake. These colored variations, especially when combined with other errors like double dyes or off-metal strikes, become multi-million-dollar unicorns, prized for their sheer uniqueness and mystique. And then there's the story of the so-called ghost die, a theory surrounding a few coins that appear to exhibit faint impressions of design elements from other denominations, like the Monticello dome from a Jefferson nickel or the torch from a Roosevelt dime, blended into the fields of the 2004 penny. Though some dismiss these as optical illusions caused by dye fatigue or overpolishing, others insist that ghost dyes might exist, potentially from reused or repurposed dye steel that hadn't been completely erased before re-engraving. This adds an entirely new dimension to the intrigue, where even the metal tooling itself carries echoes of previous designs, effectively creating a palimpsest of American coinage history. Let's not forget about the role of third-party grading services in verifying the authenticity and rarity of these coins. In the case of the $193 million specimen, it passed through the hands of multiple grading giants, PCGS, NGC, NX, and ICG, each confirming its unprecedented nature and assigning it the highest error rarity grade possible. Some numismatists even argue that this coin deserves a new category altogether, one that exists beyond the current error classification systems. The debates continue in numismatic conventions and online forums, where experts dissect microscopic details of these coins, analyze the strike pressure, metal composition, die state, and even the die flow lines, those faint radial striations that reveal how metal moved under pressure during striking. Forensic metallurgy became a necessary tool, with labs conducting electron microscopy, XRF testing, and spectral analysis to confirm the exact metal content of each coin, sometimes revealing traces of exotic alloys never seen in standard Lincoln cents. It's not just collectors who have taken interest. Museums and private foundations have also entered the fray, offering to purchase verified specimens for permanent display, viewing them not just as currency but as artifacts, moments in time captured in copper and zinc. The Smithsonian Institution reportedly made offers to acquire one of the error coins but was outbid by a European collector consortium, proving that the international appeal of this mystery transcends borders and cultures. School textbooks and university economics courses have begun referencing the 2004 cent as an example of how value can be derived from scarcity, anomaly, and story, an object lesson in behavioral economics and the psychology of perceived worth. And perhaps most mind-blowing of all is that the coin might never have surfaced had it not been for a young boy, around 10 years old, who found one in a handful of change given to him at a vending machine and noticed something odd about Lincoln's face. His parents, skeptical at first, showed it to a local dealer, who quickly realized they were holding something rare. That single coin, the first major specimen ever discovered, triggered the avalanche of discoveries and set off a treasure hunt that's still ongoing today. That boy's penny, initially mistaken for a curiosity, eventually fetched over $1.5 million in a private sale, changing his life and rewriting the rules of modern coin collecting. Today, there are still perhaps a dozen or two of these coins in the wild, possibly sitting forgotten in jars, drawers, or pockets across the country, just waiting to be recognized. And that's what makes this story so powerful, the idea that unimaginable value can hide in plain sight, that a penny, the lowest of coins, can rise to the pinnacle of worth through the convergence of chance, error, and human curiosity. It's a story of how even the smallest details matter, how the imperfections we so often overlook can sometimes become the very essence of brilliance. So, as this incredible saga of the 2004 $193 million penny continues to unfold, remember that your next lucky find might already be in your hand. Stay curious, stay observant, and never underestimate the power of an error to rewrite history.